figure show about those.
Again,
Hi, this is Robin again, and I'm going to go down on the beach to the Sunday Artist Mart and have a look, see some of the artists that are showing on the beach today. Should be very interesting. It's very interesting who you meet down there. You just have to stop for a minute and say hi, tell me about your artwork, and well, we'll see what we find. All right? That should be a lot of...
Or do people travel to town less? I said that yesterday. There didn't seem, considering it was a holiday weekend, there didn't seem to be a huge crowd of people down here. But then today there is, you know, so it's great. When it's great, it's great. I did well last summer. And we had some great, and actually in reality, that's a good part of the story. I've been here 7 years, and it just, for me, it gets better every year. It got rather weak after 2001. That was my second year because the economy kind of went down. And we all feared the worst, I think, but it came back for me. The last couple of years, it just gets better every year. So I'm doing something right, obviously, but I no longer, I try not to look at it as too much from the marketing point of view. You get ideas about what will sell down here, and you try it out and it doesn't always go. And, or you see something sell that you don't understand why it sells. There should be no reason why this thing should sell, and yet there it is. And your thing does, and then it does. Or that's what I've resorted to doing with the street scenes. It's what I want to do. Just do it because it's what you want to do. And then the good thing is it's sold pretty well on top of that.
Pictures of all the things that you
A little bit. I'm not good about that.
You haven't recorded them all?
I have, but I'm pretty spotty about that. This one I sold today, fortunately, I do have it on my new digital camera, which I don't know much about computers. I don't have a website. I don't have time for that. I got a life, you know, with a job and painting. And I'd rather be out there painting. But in that regard, I've been rather lax. Quite often, a painting that I do sells, especially if it sells right after I'm finished with it, it's gone. I have no visual record of it whatsoever.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that happened to me recently. And I'm going like this, like, why didn't you take a picture of that? But when it's my own work, I mean,
Well, do you like,
it's not, I'm trying to, as I get older, I'm not as attached to it. Or it's important that that one that I lost and I'll never see again, no big deal. It was okay. And I'm doing another one similar like it. So the one I sold today I have on record, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do with those records. I mean, I do look at them, I get ideas, but I live pretty much in the moment. I could do that, and I could get stuff together. From a marketing point of view, that needs to be done. I know what you're saying. And I've been bad about that because I'm too busy. Yeah. Yeah, I really should be doing that. Hopefully after I'm dead and gone, someone will do that for me because I haven't been so responsible about that. But I got plenty. I know. Well, the good news is I'm productive. That's why I don't do that, because I'm so productive that I always have a lot of work around. They didn't really tell me where they're from, but because you don't want to pry. They just want to buy the thing and go, and they're not from town. I've sold a lot of these to local people, but sometimes it's nice to know where it went. And that's all I need to know sometimes. I'll go out and create new things. I think if I don't, I'm that way. I get really, if I'm not producing new things all the time, it's not good. I can goof off for a little bit, but you got to watch that. You know, you can keep going.
Paint at sunrise, sunset?
A lot of times, yeah. I call it the dawn patrol. I missed it today too. I overslept. The light wasn't so great anyway. But I like to get up at 6 in the morning. I think a lot of painters aren't into this. I will discipline myself. Well, that's essentially. That's more or less done. I'm standing on State Street looking over at the hotel.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I did a lot to it the last couple sessions. Most of that upper right-hand corner came about toward the end. And I like that. It shows you how more abstract I'm willing to get. I wanted that tree there, but the sky needed to have something to correspond with it. And maybe a figure walking along in that one. I don't do a lot of them, like I was saying earlier. I want that sort of ghost town look that one has.
Is that the moon?
Yeah, there's the moon coming up. I may fit it. I may work on that. I may leave that as it is. I like the rawness of that. But it was a night when I was pretty tired and I could only stand there for so long. And I came back a few nights later, and it's a different sort of thing. That one's, when was that? Late March one year, when the sun was about to set. And I just framed that. I set that aside for about 3 years. I was convinced that sky was not right. Now I decided I was right after all. It was close enough. And that's what you do when you're outdoors. You get as much as the atmosphere, you know, I'm pretty fast, fortunately, and I don't work for photographs anymore. But this is just a part of the series, really. I call it The Lost World.
The what?
The Lost World.
And what is that?
That was a novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And I came up with it. I borrowed that title because of the way this area has looked the years I've been painting down there. It's a little run down. It's kind of empty.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're going to replace it with something more beautiful and modern. And the idea was to have something to remember it by, even though it's not much of a neighborhood to look at. And the first couple ones that I did, someone had commented, they'd made some comment as if to say, well, you've done a good job of showing beauty in this rather mundane structure, which you'll see in other paintings. There was a show at our museum at the Ashcan School a few years back. Somebody told me to go in there and look at those. I'd heard of some of those guys. Edward Hopper was in there.
Yeah, Hopper was sort of not like Hopper.
Yeah, and
You must have looked at Hopper.
yeah, I always liked him. Yeah.
That on the back in the coffee shop.
Right, yeah, I always liked that as a kid. You like those paint, you know who you like.
Yeah.
And then I have no idea how he worked. I don't know much about him. There was a fellow.
He was an illustrator too.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
He started out as an illustrator.
Yeah, he made some money in commercial. After a couple years went by, that green fence injected itself into the paintings, and I began to use that as a design element. Initially, I was annoyed that it was there, but you use that particular. That's how I operate, I guess. And I'm not always conscious that I'm doing that. I'm taking what's there. I like the way it looks in that picture. It became a part of the design. But initially, it was just an ugly green fence. There was a hole in the ground. Who would paint such a thing?
Well, it's a good question.
But I've done okay. Hey, I've sold these things down here. You can't argue with success. Yeah, it is what it is. When I began to exhibit down here, I didn't want to do the more predictable Santa Barbara. You can kind of,
Oh, you mean like the mission?
yeah, you can see any picture of the mission you want down here. And I have resisted that. That's just my way. I don't want to be like everybody else.
Yeah, well, that was great. Boy, his work is like really fantastic. And I'm not surprised, coming from Long Beach State, that illustration department, that industrial design department was really something else. But anyway, I mean, that's just something that he and I have in common, because I also went there and also saw the same students doing the same. But what work, man, that guy, whoa, some fantastic. So, glad you went along. Take her easy. This is Robin again. Bye.